Hello and welcome to the Capital Sports Roundup podcast for thecity.ie. I'm Andrew Blair White, and on this week's show we will be joined by Irish women's cricket international captain Laura Delany and Irish men's international cricketer Harry Tector. They'll both be discussing how they're coping with lockdown in the recent times and also how they're using this time to analyse their game to make it better going into a very important 2021 season for both players. Delighted to be joined by Irish women's cricket captain Laura Delany. And Laura, starting off, maybe looking back at the 2020 season there, you managed to get a Super 2 season in. You must have been delighted to have got that season in the first place, considering the circumstances. And what were your thoughts on it?
I think we were really fortunate to get a whole season in. We had 8 games in total, and given everything that's going on, it was brilliant to have those games to look forward to, but also to actually play them, and they were quite competitive in the end. For it to come down to 4-3 in the last game with everything to play for in that last game out in Malahide made it a very competitive match. And I thought throughout the series, whilst the Scorchers were on top at times, the Typhoons, we fought back pretty well. It was brilliant to see younger players come through and put in, I suppose, really important bowling spells, along with put up big scores with the bat. Um, I think the fact that it was only 2 teams this year made it more competitive as well. We obviously have a few players still based out in Australia, so it'll be interesting to see when they come back next season what happens. But overall, I was really happy with the standard of cricket this season.
Yes, and I suppose, Laura, what is the aspirations for both yourself and probably more importantly the team going forward into 2021? I know you haven't had many games recently.
I suppose every other sports team is in a similar situation, but we obviously haven't had an international fixture since I think it was August 2019. That was our last game. So for us, we were meant to play in a series in Thailand in March. Then we were meant to have our qualifiers out in Sri Lanka in July. Obviously, both of those, the Thailand tour got cancelled, and the qualifiers has been postponed to July 2021. We do have a series against Scotland out in Lomanga at the end of November, which I suppose is something that we're really looking forward to. It kind of gives a little bit more focus in and around training. Our main goal at the moment is our qualifiers out in Sri Lanka in 2021.
And just at this moment in time, what is the routine for you and the team? Are you allowed to train together, or are you allowed train at all, or what is the story?
In one sense, we've been pretty fortunate. We've been able to continue training, but it's all one-to-one based. So we're not able to face bowlers. We don't have group training sessions, don't have group fielding sessions. Everything is on your own. Which, look, we're very fortunate to be in a position to do that. But given the fact that we're so close to a tour, it is slightly frustrating because there's only so much time that you can face facing the bowling machine. Ideally, you want to be facing bowlers, whether that's spinners or seamers. But I suppose we can only make do with what we can and the facilities that we have available to us at the moment. So at the moment, each player has 2 slots per week. It's basically 60 minutes that you have to get your batting and your bowling in. So it is pretty tight. It's not ideal, but as I've said, we're really lucky to be in a position that we can train. We are heading out to Lomanga a few days before the competition starts. So hopefully it'll give us an opportunity then to train as a group, which will be really beneficial because we haven't had a group training session for a number of weeks now.
And this is where I'd like to bring in Harry Tector. Harry was part of the Irish men's side that beat England this summer. Harry, I suppose you were there in the middle at the end of that English game. What was it like to obviously go on and win the game, and your thoughts going through the game as a whole?
Yeah, obviously the England game was amazing. All the work was done really by the bowlers dragging it back for that second half of the first innings, and then Ball and Sterlo were just amazing. That was phenomenal to watch. And then I guess having been out there, I've done that a couple of times now with Kev, so he was very helpful. It kept us calm, and then when either one of us really needed to hit a boundary or a six, we were able to do that, which was great. And to be out there at the end, having won the game and walking off together, that was obviously brilliant. And it obviously gave everyone a lift at home, because there wasn't any live sport on apart from us. So, yeah, it was brilliant day.
And during lockdown, Harry, have you been able, therefore, to have a look at your game and maybe change some parts of your technique, or do you analyze your shots and your technique that much in the off season, or is it more of a feel thing?
I'd probably, in terms of improving my technique, I'd probably more analyze like training sessions, and if I'm working on a technical thing, I'd be getting someone to video it and then analyzing that video more so than match stuff. So yeah, but I definitely use it a lot. You know, everyone's obviously individual, but personally, I like to know what I'm doing, and video is the best tool, apart from, like, you obviously have a certain feel about how a shot should be and stuff, but video can give you certain clues as to how you can maybe execute it slightly better.
So therefore, would you be using video analysis an awful lot then, looking back at games, or is, as you say, more training based, or would you do a lot of work with the analyst?
Yeah, like, I'd watch most of our games back now, to be honest. Particularly, I'd often watch my poor shots or my dismissals, to try and learn from them, because if you've hit a good shot, you know, via the outcome, but it's the bad ones that you want to learn from, and the mistakes you make. And yeah, along with Scott Irvine, our analyst, I'd always be asking him questions about different things and stuff like that to try and improve.
And we heard from Laura earlier that obviously cricket at an international level is being able to proceed as an elite sport from a training perspective. Does that mean that there hasn't been much difference to your routine over the winter, or would it still have been a bit more than it is now?
Because we're under the elite sport category, we're still able to be in the gym and training every day. So in that sense, I haven't been affected at all, really. My training's been going really well. We're training really well, and we're in the gym most days as well. So it's really good, and thankfully we haven't been that affected by it.
And finally, Harry, looking forward to 2021, you're still obviously a new member of the Irish team at the moment. What are your aspirations going forward into the next year as a calendar year with the amount of games to be played for Ireland?
My goals going into next block of games and onward into the new year would probably be to be as consistent as possible, scoring runs at 4 or 5 wherever I'm batting in the team. So that's my goal this year, to try and score as many runs as possible to help us win games of cricket. And yes, so hopefully obviously also try and make sure I'm in the team for the T20 World Cup next October, and then once we get out there, to put on a good showing for everyone, and try and raise the profile of the game even more here.
It was great to catch up with both Laura and Harry, and everyone at thecity.ie would like to wish both of them the best of luck going forward into next year with both the Irish women's and Irish men's cricket teams going forward into 2021. That wraps up this week's episode of the Capital Sports Roundup podcast, brought to you by thecity.ie, and we'll hopefully see you guys soon.